Imagine you're sitting alone in a quiet room late at night. The world outside has gone to sleep, and it's just you and the silence. You look around, and a curious thought strikes you. What if I am the only conscious being in the universe? What if everything and everyone else is just a figment of my imagination? This unsettling idea is not just the stuff of late-night musings, but a serious philosophical position known as solipsism. Solipsism says that only one's mind is sure to exist. The external world and other minds cannot be known and might not exist outside the mind. Essentially, it's the belief that your consciousness is the only certain reality. Think about that for a moment. Can you ever be completely sure that the people around you are conscious beings with thoughts and emotions like yours? French philosopher René Descartes famously said, "I think, therefore I am." This was his way of emphasizing that his own consciousness was undeniable. But beyond his own mind, Descartes admitted uncertainty. How do we know anything beyond our own thoughts? This is the crux of solipsism. Let's say you're watching a movie. As you watch this movie, you become engrossed in the story, feeling the emotions of the characters and experiencing the twists and turns of the plot. But at any moment you can remind yourself it's just a film, a creation of actors, directors, and writers. Now, what if reality itself is like this movie, where everything outside your mind is just a complex, vivid creation of your consciousness? But if you were the only conscious being, what does that say about relationships, love, and empathy? When you feel a connection with another person, solipsism would suggest that connection is an illusion, a creation of your mind. This is a deep and disturbing thought. When you tell someone you love them, is it just your mind playing tricks on you? Some might argue that solipsism is an extreme form of skepticism. Skepticism, in general, is about doubting knowledge claims. Solipsism takes this to its ultimate limit by doubting the existence of everything outside one's own mind. But is it reasonable to doubt the existence of the external world and other minds? Think about dreams. In a dream, everything feels real until you wake up. You interact with people, feel emotions, and experience events. Yet, when you wake up, you realize it was all a creation of your mind. If your mind can create such convincing realities while you sleep, how can you be sure it isn't doing the same while you're awake? Ludwig Wittgenstein, a prominent 20th century philosopher, suggested that solipsism, when thought through thoroughly, leads to the idea that the solipsist's language would be private and understandable only by the solipsist. This is because language, meaning, and understanding are inherently social. If a lion could speak, we could not understand him, Wittgenstein famously said, pointing to the idea that our comprehension is tied to shared experiences and contexts. If you were the only conscious being, meaningful language and communication would be impossible. Yet, here we are, communicating and understanding each other. Does this undermine solipsism? Let's consider another angle, the technological perspective. With advances in artificial intelligence and virtual reality, we are creating experiences and entities that mimic consciousness. Think of sophisticated video games or virtual reality environments. These systems can create characters that seem conscious and responsive, but we know they are not truly aware. Could our experience of the world be similar? George Berkeley proposed a related idea called immaterialism, where he argued that the material world does not exist independently of our perceptions. For Berkeley, to be is to be perceived. Everything we experience is a product of our perceptions, and God is the ultimate perceiver who ensures the continuity of existence. While not solipsism per se, Berkeley's ideas push us to consider the nature of existence and perception critically. One might counter solipsism with the argument from intersubjectivity. This is the idea that because multiple people can agree on the existence of the same objects and experiences, those objects and experiences must exist independently of individual minds. When you and a friend both see a tree, you both describe it in similar ways, suggesting it exists outside your individual minds. But a solipsist could argue that your friend and their agreement are also creations of your mind. Let's take a step back and think about what solipsism might feel like if true. You're walking down a busy street, seeing people rushing by, each with their own lives and stories. But according to Solipsism, all these people are like characters in your dream, products of your mind. This perspective can feel isolating and lonely. Yet, it also places immense power in your consciousness, making you the creator of your universe. David Hume argued that we can't know anything with absolute certainty, including the existence of the self. He suggested that what we think of as the self is just a bundle of perceptions without true unity. If Hume is right, solipsism might be based on an illusion. If the self is just a collection of experiences and perceptions, then solipsism's focus on the self's primacy could be misplaced. Consider the implications of solipsism on ethics. If other people are mere figments of your imagination, does it matter how you treat them? Most ethical systems rely on the reality of other minds and the moral significance of our interactions with them. If solipsism were true, would moral behavior be just a matter of self-consistency rather than genuine concern for others? Here's another alternative: the problem of other minds. Even if we reject solipsism, we still face the challenge of knowing other minds exist. You can never directly experience someone else's thoughts or feelings. You infer their existence through behavior and communication, but these inferences could be mistaken. This problem doesn't necessarily lead to solipsism, but shows that certainty about other minds is elusive. However, practical experience often trumps philosophical skepticism. You interact with people daily, forming relationships, understanding emotions, and building societies. These interactions assume other minds are real and that shared experiences are meaningful. While solipsism raises fascinating and troubling questions, living as if you are the only conscious being is practically untenable and socially isolating. Even so, solipsism challenges us to examine the nature of consciousness, perception, and reality. Immanuel Kant argued that while we cannot know the world as it is in itself, the noumenal world, we can know the world as it appears to us, the phenomenal world. For Kant, our experiences are shaped by our perceptions and cognitive structures. While this doesn't support solipsism, it does emphasize that our knowledge of reality is mediated by our minds, reinforcing the idea that our understanding of the world is basically subjective. Think about art and creativity. When you create a painting, write a story, or compose music, you bring something new into existence. These creations are deeply personal, emerging from your consciousness. Yet when others experience your art, they bring their own perceptions and interpretations. This interplay between personal creation and shared experience shows the tension between solipsism and intersubjectivity. Art becomes a bridge between individual minds, suggesting a shared reality. Science fiction often explores solipsistic themes. Movies like The Matrix or Inception play with the idea of simulated realities and the nature of consciousness. These stories captivate us because they tap into deep philosophical questions about what is real and what is imagined. They remind us that our perceptions can be deceiving and that questioning reality is a part of the human experience. So, next time you find yourself alone in the quiet of the night, let your mind wander. Question the reality of your surroundings and the existence of other minds. Embrace the mystery of your consciousness and the questions it raises. And remember, whether or not you are the only conscious being in the universe, the exploration of these ideas is a uniquely human endeavor, one that connects us all in our quest for understanding.